we have 4 simple rules. Number 1, we don't discuss politics, ever. Number 2, this is not a religious channel, and while you might hear people say, God bless you, or I'm going to pray for you, or I wouldn't have gotten through this without my faith, that's fine. What's not fine is to say, my God is better than your God, or here's why you're not getting into heaven. It's not going to fly. Number 3, we believe wholeheartedly if you can't control your tongue, then you can't control your life. So while on board, there's not going to be any cursing in the live chat, period. And number 4, there is no room for mean people on the lifeboat. Because we discuss very sensitive things from people's past in our group setting, we got to protect those people. The only way they feel confident and comfortable discussing those things is in an environment that is free of trolls and mean people. So if you're a mean person or you're a troll, we're going to block you for life. And if your account happens to be less than 24 hours old, we're probably a little suspicious right from the word go. Why? Well, because there are people in this world who enjoy being cruel solely for the sake of being cruel. It's not going to fly here. But if you're here because you're trying to get sober and live your best life, then you might find that the lifeboat is just that, a lifeboat. I'm Captain Tommy Scoville, and we will see you on deck. Riding on the lifeboat, riding on the lifeboat, riding on the lifeboat, lifeboat. Squirrel is in a really awful mood. And my brother Johnny doesn't seem to realize that I do a show every night around this time. Johnny, hold on a second. Let's see if I can't get him over there. Hey, maybe you could just join me on the lifeboat. I do a show every night about this time. All right, sorry about that. Come here. Squirrel is in a terrible mood because we have a guest in the house. And Squirrel is a terrible cat when there's a guest in the house. Doesn't like guests. She's super friendly to me and to most other men. Doesn't like women much. And we have a guest in the house right now talking to my mom, and Squirrel is just all kinds of upset about it. Squirrel, come here. So last night I did a show, which shouldn't be too much of a shock because I do a show every night. Spanks Calhoun, good to see you. Last night I did a show where I talked about the plague in our country currently. There are people that really hate it when I do those shows. And I got to be really honest. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. I really don't. So to all of the people who were offended by it, terribly sorry. And that's all I have to say about that. I'm going to continue to do them because they're more important than just about anything I do here. But that's not what we're going to talk about tonight. Hello, Full of Hope. Good to see you. Leisure. Good to see you, my bud. So tonight we're going to talk about something that is one of my favorite subjects, and it is what makes us unique. Now, if I said, what makes everybody on the lifeboat unique as a group? There you go, Johnny. What makes us all unique as a group? The first thing that's probably going to jump out to everybody's mind is the fact that we're all struggling with substance abuse, right? That's somewhat logical. However, it's not what I'm talking about. There are other things that make us unique to one another on the lifeboat. And very often to people in recovery, but certainly people here. What makes us unique is a form of tolerance that the next person doesn't have. I remember, sorry, I just navaged. It stuffed up my ears. That's that thing that you go, and it cleans you all up. I remember once riding with my brother Johnny in the car, and we saw a gentleman on the side of the road talking to himself. He was finishing off a bottle that had a brown paper bag wrapped around it. And he was talking to himself. And within literally a minute of seeing this individual, we heard a lyric by Billy Joel that said, I see winos talking to themselves and I understand. The truth is, most people don't care. Most people who see homeless individuals or they see people struggling with drug addiction, they look at the videos of people online who are suffering and have skin falling off or have big black lesions, and they get disgusted because they're an inconvenience to the average person. See, they would just like to be able to get to their office building or to their PTA meeting without having to look at somebody that is struggling with drugs or alcohol. And that's sadly the world that we live in. But it's not the world of the lifeboat. What makes this place unique, what makes the people on this channel unique, is love. And I mean that. It's really a different thing when you see an individual that has struggled for years with substance abuse. It leaves an indelible mark on them. And sometimes that mark can leave bitterness. And usually those are individuals who don't fix themselves, right? Let me stop that thing from making noise because it's going to do this all night. I got some people that have been sorry. I got to shut this thing off. But very often you see people who get through sobriety and they're miserable. They become unhappy individuals. And then there are those of us who see winos talking to themselves and we understand. My brother has, in an interview that he did on the lifeboat once, talked about somebody that we both know who says every time a waiter comes and asks if there's anything that anyone wants to drink, he says, Jack and Coke. Hold the Jack. This is an individual that never dealt with the issues that made him an addict in the first place. That's a dangerous thing. But for those who take the time to figure out why they became addicted to drugs, a really unusual thing happens. What happens is they develop a love for the rest of the world that is unlike anything I've seen before. I don't try to jump up on soapboxes too often and talk about the amount of time that this takes. But it takes a lot of time. Doing the lifeboat's a full-time gig. I have no problem with it at all. But what keeps me coming back is the love on this boat. It's the love on this channel. I watched a guy last night, and I still didn't get the guy's name, but I want to promote him on this channel. He's good. He has his own channel, and he's excellent. But he talks very specifically about one subject matter, and that subject matter is buprenorphine. He talks about the difference between taking it in strip form where you put it under your tongue or taking it in the new Sublocade form. And I don't know a lot about Sublocade. I need to do a lot more research, but I've been using this guy as a source, and he cares. It's really obvious. Chili Mancer. Hey, one of my favorite people. I love Donnie. I'm glad that you're here, Donnie. I really am. Good night for it. Really, it's a good night for you to be here. But I watched his channel last night, and he puts on a very different message than I do. What he talks about, as I said, it really is uniquely just about buprenorphine. It doesn't matter. The amount of love on that guy's channel really made me think of the lifeboat. And I don't leave comments too often in other people's live feeds. I'm not famous, right? I'm nothing like that. But there are people who know me on the internet. And very often, if I leave a comment, a lot of people will want to say hi. And I don't want to hijack somebody's live feed. So very often, if I'm on a live feed, my brother says he loves Donnie too. Donnie's hard not to love. He really is. Donnie's just hard not to love. It's a perfect night for you to be here, Donnie. But I ended up leaving comments on this guy's channel because as much as what he does is so different than what I do, he does not have a no cursing rule. So years ago, they would have called it blue, I believe is the term they used to use for when comedians or entertainers regularly curse. Uncle Bill, I'm really, really sorry that during yesterday's live feed, I didn't see the comment that you left until the following well, last night, but after the live feed. I go back and I look if I'm able to, and I'm sorry about the loss of your friend. You know, it's every day. It's every day now. And you know what? We feel it. I think we feel it differently. And and obviously, if you lose a friend, you feel it. And that's something that will be with you forever. But addicts feel it when they're not our friends. Today, I got 3 emails from people who said, one of them said, a girl from my daughter's class overdosed and died on fentanyl yesterday. That was one email. One said, my ex-husband, who I'm close with, overdosed and died yesterday on heroin. Chances are it wasn't heroin. But getting ready to dig to dig my ducks a pond. Good for you. Awesome. And then the third one said, someone that I teach in school, a teacher in high school, lost a student. They have not done the autopsy yet, but 17-year-old boys don't drop dead. It happens really infrequently. And there's a safe bet that when the autopsy comes back, it's going to be one more person that we lost to this. And we feel it. We feel it because we understand the desperation. We understand the desperation that puts a 45 caliber gun in somebody's hand to rob somebody, to get money for drugs. We understand the desperation of sticking a needle in your arm so that you can feel good about who you are. The love that surrounds people in recovery is magic. It really is. And the proof of it is here every single day. There are individuals on this boat who have reached out to me, who have said in no uncertain terms that their political affiliation lies really far in this direction. At the same time, there are people on this boat whose political affiliations lean really, really hard in that direction. It doesn't much matter, which is really unique, but it really doesn't much matter here. Whether or not you're right wing, left wing, we're all fighting a demon that is unique to us. I put up the comment from Unpredictable Tony because it's just so on the money. What they called drugs in the 90s is no longer drugs, but poison. Very sad. And what is happening, I struggle with watching. It really is a difficult thing to watch. However, it's the world that we live in currently. And our number one weapon, if we want to stay sober, you know what, Donnie, what a beautiful thing to say. He said, I learned a while ago that politics and morals are separate. And it's the truth. There are people who I agree with nothing on. But it doesn't mean that they're not great people. That doesn't happen in too many places today. I was talking with someone about a Seinfeld episode that we joked just might have been the start of all of it. Of all of this hatred sort of back and forth, this extremism about views. I'm not going to turn tonight's episode into any of that. I'm not. Last night I talked about some very uncomfortable stuff. What keeps us coming back are not the uncomfortable episodes. But it's important to me that everybody realize that if I come on here and I say something like, it's up to you. And if you don't talk to the people that you love about this trash, then you're going to bury them. It's not something I enjoy saying. I promise you, I do not enjoy saying that. Please understand that I say it because I love the people on this boat. I never thought there was a chance of me ever believing that. That's the truth. It's bizarre to me how much I can care about people I've never stood in the same room with. The number one weapon that we have in this battle of addiction is love. And sadly, it gets clouded over with so much bovine crap, so much BS that gets piled on top of things. There are some things that I want to get really clear so that everybody has a real handle on this. If your method of getting sober is that you come to believe that you're powerless over your substance of choice and that a power greater than yourself can restore you to sanity, and then you go through 11 more steps, I'm great with that. I'm great with that. I don't teach the 12 steps because they didn't work for me. However, I don't care how you get sober. If the 12 steps work for you, fantastic. I'm not anti-12 step. It just didn't work for me. And it didn't work for me because I didn't care enough about myself for that program to work. Everybody I met kept telling me that I had to do it for me, and I didn't like me. In fact, I hated me. So Q's method worked beautifully for me because I was able to start the process before I cared about who I was. And that process made it so that I love me. I'm flawed. I'm viciously flawed. And the people that know me well know just how flawed I am. It's pretty bad. However, I am what I am. And every single day when I get up in the morning, I have one goal. And that goal is to go to bed sober. And I made my mind up about 8 years ago that no other goal would ever enter my life other than that one. And amazingly, every day when I get up now, my goal is to not let down the people on this channel. And I know that there are times I do things on this channel that let people down. It's inevitable. It is what it is. I'm not happy about it. It's the reason that I've got Rumble, so I can go over there and be myself. It's difficult to bite the inside of your lip for 830 videos. And because of that, I came on here and I railed against the big red button. I think that you should be able to say whatever you want to say. And sadly, we can't. However, my inability to bite the inside of my lip a little harder has cost us from reaching more people. And that's something that I have to deal with. And it's probably too late because the algorithm decides who you are and then it sticks with it. But I am really going to go out of my way to not bash on the big red button and to say things like the beast from the east instead of using the name of that country that's killing everybody over here. I'm really going to try to do things like that. I'm going to try to fall in the line so that I don't damage this boat, because that means something to me. And I got emails from a lot of people that said, you know, the boat means a lot to me. And I know that it does for a lot of people. But you see the comment that I just posted? At the end of this tonight, there will be about 80 or 90 people that watched this. And then it'll turn into a couple of hundred over the next day or so. Doesn't cost $1 to hit the thumbs up. And you're not saying, boy, that Tommy's awesome. What you're doing is telling the big red button that we'd like to help more people if at all possible. That really is what we're doing. When we hit that like button, we're trying to spread this love a little bit farther. Or is it a little bit further? Either way, we're trying to push this out. We would like more people to realize that there's a place they can come where we'll try to help you without judging you. No one here is ever going to make you feel like you're less than anything. Are you perfect exactly how you are? No. No, you're not. If you're perfect exactly how you are, you don't need the lifeboat. However, underneath that addiction, you're probably pretty damn close to perfect. Honestly. The trouble is, drink or drug has a way of pushing the most important part of who you are out of the equation. The most important part of who you are is love. It's love for family, it's love for friends, it's love for life. The first thing that goes is the love for life. I used to say, F my life. I bet you I used to say it 25 times a day. Now, there are people who believe in putting things out into the into the cosmos. It's probably not a great thing to put out. To continue to repeat F my life over and over again, probably not a great thing. But it's who I was. I didn't like me. And when you don't love yourself, it becomes very difficult to love people and things and life itself. I'll tell you something, people. I complain from time to time, and everybody does. It's just human nature. There are days that aren't easy. There are days that downright suck. And when you're trying to get sober, there are a lot of those days. There are days when we just don't have the equipment to handle what life throws at us. That's when, thank you so much, ZW. That's when all of these people become a power greater than yourself. I believe in God. I'm not downplaying that. I'm really not. But the lifeboat is a power greater than every person on the lifeboat. There's a reason that 50 people show up here every night or every morning. Because it feels nice to go someplace where people don't judge you. It feels nice to go someplace where people that you don't know say, I love you. Is there anything I can do? How do you feel? What's going on with you? As I mentioned, there's no other way to put this. It's going to sound terrible, but we're on a death watch basically with Lady Crispin's great-grandmother. Mercy would be if this happens fast, because she's not in a good place. And she's at the end of a very, very long life, more than 9 decades. And it would just be lovely if she would transfer to the other side where she's very confident about where she's going, as are the people around her. So the thoughts and prayers for her family mean a lot to me, and they mean a lot to her. But the fact that everybody is ready every night for whoever's hurting makes us really unique. I don't know how much time you spend on YouTube channels. And I'm not bad-mouthing other channels. Yeah, I am. I take that back. I'm absolutely bad-mouthing other channels. Who did I just miss as a member? I don't know who that is. I hate it when that happens. Full of Hope. Full of Hope's one of my favorite people. Big fan of Full of Hope. Sends emails that make me think. I love when that happens. I really do. There you are. You know what it is? I went back and looked at something and I missed everything. No, I won't badmouth Chase the Heat. It's another very unique channel. And there are other unique channels out there. But you know how often I'll pop onto a channel and I'll start watching a live feed and people are just hacking on one another. Everybody trying to be the most creative, mean person that they can be. How nasty can you be? Can you show your creativity through hate? Damn. That just sucks. It really does. It sucks. I'd shut this bad boy down in a New York minute if that was my channel. I would. I don't need any more hate in my life. I spent 46 years hurting people. When you hurt people, you create hate, you create negativity, you create all kinds of things that just aren't right. It is wild. Donnie knows. I've watched Donnie go through it. I have. With class, by the way. It's not easy when people are tearing you apart. It really isn't. And you know what? I'm here to talk about love, but the people that tear other people apart for the sake of doing it, they're sad people. Believe it or not, I pray for them. I really do. I didn't used to. In fact, I used to hope bad things would happen to them. Now I just pray for them. It's a really sick individual that takes joy in trying to hurt another. The beautiful thing about recovery is all of that seems to fall away. Whether you go with 3 steps or 12 steps or you don't use any steps, the process of peeling back the onion to find out why you're a drug addict very often leaves you naked. It leaves you without any armor. It leaves you without any BS. Fiona, we understand. It leaves you without anything. You strip away all of that. And you basically get down to just who you are. Forces you to really take a good hard look at who you are, what you've done. How often do you think non-addicts do that? Seriously. Non-addicts usually don't think there's much to work on. The beautiful thing about people in recovery is that we know we're flawed. We know that we have a lot of work to do to become what we were supposed to be in the first place, or to become what we were prior to drugs and alcohol taking the wheel. It is really important to me that this channel remains a channel of love. I'll catch hell for that. The trolls will have a field day that I said that. But you know what? It's a channel of love. It really is. And I don't want that to change. Boy, do I not want that to change. We're going to disagree with one another. It's going to happen. Let's remember the things that unite us instead of the things that divide us. Raise your hand if you've ever had a day you couldn't get through without a chemical. Huh? Those are the things that unite us. Those are the things that make every single one of us the same. Black, white, yellow, purple, blue, doesn't matter. Female, male, somewhere in between. It doesn't matter. All of us know what it feels like to not be comfortable enough in our own skin to get through a day without getting wasted. Needing to get loaded just to be comfortable enough to be yourself is something so unique. It is. It's horrible, isn't it? But it forces you to peel an onion in a way that nothing else in humanity does. You see, there's a cliche that they like to say, and I like to say it because most cliches, as you know, are based on some pretty sound concepts. Drug abuse isn't the problem, it's the symptom. If you're drinking a fifth a day, that is a symptom of a very large problem. If you're snorting an 8-ball a day, and I don't care what you're snorting, that is a symptom of a really large problem. You can't heal from that problem without figuring out what it is that's causing you to do that. It is a journey, self-exploration in a way that very little on this planet forces somebody to do. You know, it's going to sound crazy, but in a lot of ways, I thank God that I was as messed up as I was. Because if I wasn't a drug addict, I could have been an asshole for the rest of my life. For real. I could have treated my kids, my family, my friends, could have treated everybody like crap, because that's what I did. But I had to start peeling that onion. I had to start figuring out why I did the things that I did. And I went with a system that's a little different than the 12 steps. But whether you go 12 steps or you go 3 steps or you go with that, whatever it is, you're going to get to a point where you say, I'm going to redesign me. I'm not going to be that person anymore. Donnie is visiting. He and I had this conversation on multiple occasions. Donnie is one of the most viciously intelligent people that I've met. And if he's upset at you, his tongue has the ability to be a bullwhip in creative ways. Honestly, I hate to say it out loud, but I kind of like watching Donnie rip somebody apart. But he said to me one day, it's not right. It's not. Just because you have that skill doesn't mean maybe you should use it. Right? I love the fact. Sorry. Check this out. Excuse me. I love the fact that the people here say, I love you to one another. Find me a place where men say, I love you to other men without catching a lot of hell for it. We live in a pretty twisted world. And if a couple of guys say, hey, man, I love you, there are people that are just waiting in the wings to crack jokes. Charlie, I love you. Alan Ballantyne, like few people I've ever met in my life, I love. He's just one of the best people that I've ever met. Just an absolute blessing. Chase the Heat in many ways spawned the lifeboat. No joke. When I was planning on doing this, I wasn't planning on doing it virtually. I was planning on doing it in person. Never at any point when I was putting together what was to become the lifeboat did I ever think I'd be sitting in front of a camera. It's just not what I thought was going to happen. Honestly, talked about it for over a decade. Never did I mention YouTube, virtual anything, social media, none of that. That was not in any way did I think that that was a possibility. And then I got out of prison. I started fighting around with social media. Do you know who the very first person that I met on social media was? No joke. Donnie. The Chili Mancer was the first person I met. You know how I met him? He said to me, hey, I'm friends with the guy you're claiming is your brother. He didn't think that Johnny had a brother. And he thought that I was just a guy online who was kind of claiming to be a Scoville. He was friendly, but he was definitely wanting to weed this out. He didn't like the idea that I was pretending to be my brother's brother. And we ended up becoming friends. But the interaction that I had through Chase the Heat was the reason that I believed this was possible. I always thought social media was a plague, honestly, like a cancer, that in all honesty, it should probably just be cut out, radiated, right? Hit with some serious medicine and removed from society. The very day that I started the lifeboat, I had to write down, you get this little bio thing that you do. I don't know if you've ever read it, but I wrote reimagining what social media can be. That was on July 31st of 2020. Reimagining what social media can be. Because I'll tell you something, this platform, and I don't mean the lifeboat, I just mean I'm sitting in an office, right, with a fake picture of Arizona behind me and a big, huge circular light in my face that causes me to squint. And it's giving me the opportunity to talk to 43 people in 43 different places, some of whom are in other countries. Social media has the opportunity to be the greatest thing in the world. And sadly, it got hijacked because the people who thought this up, truthfully, I remember, whether you people can believe this or not, I remember being in elementary school in, give you an idea, 1978. And a guy came into our classroom with an Apple computer. And he showed us how to boot this thing up. Reset, return, escape, shift, P, PR number 6. He did all of that and the computer would turn on. And he sat in a room and he said, someday you will be able to talk to people all over the world through this box. Honestly, he predicted what the internet was going to do. This man had put up all of the venture capital for Apple Computer. And those cats had vision for what the internet was going to be. And what he described is so remarkably like the lifeboat. It's incredible. The rest of social media, sadly, forces us to pretend to be something that we're not. When's the last time you saw a post on Facebook that said, picture me and the old lady in the kitchen, just got into a huge fight over the fact that I did this, this, and this. I left socks on the floor of the bedroom. She went absolutely nuts. This is a picture of her screaming at me, right? Here's a picture of my son. He just got C's on his report card. I'm not letting him use the car for the next 3 weeks. There's a picture of the cat just urinated in the corner. No. Social media has made people pretend to be things that they're not, because it has become not about love. It's become about image. One of the beautiful things about recovery is that image crap goes right out the window, doesn't it? For real. I remember having conversations with 3 or 4 different people. I had put up a post that I was going to be putting on Instagram. I had about 8,000 or 9,000 followers on Instagram at the time. And it said, my name is Tommy Scoville. I'm a heroin addict and a convicted bank robber. And I thought you guys should know that, since most of you hang out with me. I could not tell you the fear. It was terrible. Now, I had a dry run on Chase the Heat. Somebody was making a lot of jokes about drugs on Chase the Heat, and I had a segment on there. And I filmed a little deal for Tommy's Picks where I came on and said, I don't pick any of the comments where people joke about drugs because I'm a heroin addict. I just don't think they're funny. I understand why, it's low-hanging fruit. It's easy to crack jokes about stuff like this, but I don't think it's funny. I don't think it's funny because it almost destroyed my life. And it's killed almost everybody that I know. And the reaction was incredible. Chase the Heat is a very loving place. Met a lot of great people through there. In fact, a lot of people here today I met there. And when I put up the post on Instagram, I got people from 30 or 40 countries that said to me, who cares what you did? Who cares what you did? So today I wanted to talk about love, because there's not enough of it. I promise you there's not. In the next 2 years, you know what's going to happen? We're going to have to elect another idiot to run this country. And when that happens, half of us may choose one direction and the other half may choose the other. It's not going to change who we are. It's not. So let's not let the really stupid small stuff derail what we have. Let's continue to care for one another. I don't care who you vote for. I don't. I'm not going to come on here and tell you who to vote for. I'm not. I have come on here and I have ripped the president we have in the office right now. And I will rip the next one if they don't do something to stop the fentanyl problem. But that doesn't make me a left or a right or anything else. It makes me somebody who is tired of getting emails that say, I just lost a friend of mine to an overdose. I'm not kidding you, people. there's been about 3 days in 2023 that I haven't gotten one of those emails. Today I got 3. Let's concentrate on the things that are important. And I can't think of anything more important than love. I can't. Honestly, I can't. If you can think of something, tell me. Send me an email. You could say sobriety. You're not going to get sober without love. You're not going to get sober without people who care about you. You're not. I'll get an email tonight. I did it all by myself. God bless you. You loved yourself enough to pull it off. You're not the average. The average person requires the people around them to lean on bad days. It requires a whole hell of a lot of love. And the fact that you people, I love saying you people. I really do. The fact that you people welcome virtually everybody who steps foot on the lifeboat as if you've known them your whole life is such a tribute to sobriety, to what it means to want to be a better man or a better woman, and to put that crap behind you. I got a message from somebody today that said, I would like you to tell me honestly what you think of me. I'm not laughing. I'm laughing. And I wrote back and said, good God, what do you care what I think of you? I think you're a great person. I really do. I think you're an amazing human being. But the more important question is, what do you think of yourself? We all need to lean on one another from time to time. Every once in a while, it's nice to have somebody say, I think you're a great person. I wish I had responded a little differently. I told the person I think they're a great human being, but I shouldn't have questioned why they were asking, because from time to time, it's just really nice to have somebody tell you that you're not a piece of crap. Society's been telling us since the first time we couldn't say no that we're worthless, we're weak, we have no self-control, we're degenerates. Whether they realize it or not, they force us to keep using with that kind of crap. So to the person that sent me that, I love you. I think you're a great person. I'm astounded at how well you do in life with everything you have on your plate. True story. Love you. And I love the rest of you. I do. I mean that. I really do. It's amazing to say because it feels weird as hell. I'm not going to lie to you. It still freaks me out on the daily that I've been able to develop relationships like this with people that I don't know. Face to face. Z. My goodness. Do you know I don't think I've ever seen a one initial Z. You're a first. I've never seen one initial for yeah, militants. No question, right? Everybody here is flawed. The difference between us and the rest of the world is we know it. And I'll tell you something, militant vegan. I don't think you're as flawed as you think you are. We had a really teeny little rub. It was no big deal at all. But I can't tell you how hard militant vegan bent over backwards to try to make things right. Far more than he needed to. This wasn't that big a deal. It wasn't. It was not a big deal at all. It was a teeny little silly amount of friction, but the amount of overflowing of affection and caring was intense. It really was. It was beautiful. I don't think you're nearly as flawed as you think you are. Doesn't mean you don't need work. Holy hell. Take my word for it. We all need work. Boy, do we all need work. I do. Every single day, I need work. I say on here a lot that I'm not a great person. And I've gotten a lot of emails from people that take umbrage with that. I'm trying every day to be a good person. I'm still really flawed. You can't do 46 years of dope without really messing yourself up. I'm not patient enough. I've got some issues, but you know what? We all got issues. I think the judge of whether or not you're doing all right isn't if you're succeeding. It's if you're trying. And I love everybody here that's trying. I really do. I learned I wasn't as flawed as I thought growing up when mother admitted to beating me. Oh my God, when she was mad at my dad. I thought I was a bad kid. Oh my God. I can't imagine that. I literally can't imagine that. My God, I can't imagine that. You're not as flawed as you think you are, I promise. Chili Mancer says, I think trying is succeeding. Boy, there's a lot of truth to that. There really is. You get knocked down and you get back up, and you get knocked down and you get back up. And that is sobriety. I think it's hilarious that this world goofy, where you have 4,000 members and you really only have 42 per day. Yeah. About average is about 10%. And that's a high average. 5% is about average. See, what happens is a lot of individuals decide that they want to get sober. And they come on board and they say, yeah, you know what? Sober's what I want. And then they fall off the wagon. And they don't always unsubscribe, although that happens a lot. They just sort of disappear. And then there are individuals who got sober and life is good. There are people like Cujo. I don't know if you know Cujo. You may not have been here long enough, but they stop back in about once or twice a month and they say, just want you to know I'm doing great. Things are good. But it's pretty standard operating procedure. If you got 1 million subscribers and you can get 100,000 views on something, you're killing it. You're killing it. To hit subscribe is easy. To show up and really want to change your life, that's kind of a taller order. And there are people that don't need it. There are people who hit subscribe out of respect, but they need 1 or 2 times a month to stop by for a little maintenance. I've got a very close friend in Texas that got off of pain medication through the help of the lifeboat. And she's killing it. Absolutely killing it. And she came by and bought a membership. I think she bought the most expensive membership on the planet. And every once in a while, I'll get a text message that just said, love what you're doing. Just want you to know I'm sober. And then I thank the lifeboat for it. So it's kind of the nature of the beast. Doesn't really hurt my feelings. It doesn't. I'm astounded that 43 people show up here every day and listen to me. For real. And then there'll be about another 70 to 170, depending on the video, that are going to show up from other countries. There was a time when it was about 500 people that would see each video. But then I decided to do 2 one-hour videos a day. If you talk to anybody who does this stuff for a living, they'll say to you, that's a mistake. See, you really should only do 3 videos a week, tops. Because then people want to show up to make sure they hear what you got to say. If you do 2 hours of stuff a day, they don't feel the need to show up. They can show up whenever, right? You're constant. You're there. But I'm not trying to build the channel. If I was, I guess I would do this differently. I'm trying to give people a place where a couple of times a day they can come together and find people who love them and care for them because they're trying to change their life. It may not be a great business model. but it seems to be helping people. And it's helping one person that I know really well in a big way. Kind of a video journal of sorts, I guess. Helps me a lot, an awful lot. And pretty damn happy with the entire thing. And you people are the reason for that. What they say doesn't always apply. I used to joke all the time about they. You know they, right? They say you never split tens, right? Never split a winner. You always double down on an 11, even if they're showing a face cut. Hey Tommy, I just signed up for Rumble in another window while I am listening, and I'm trying to find you. What's your channel over there? My channel, Chili Mancer, is called The Lifeboat, but it is all one word. And we affectionately refer to it as The Lifeboat Raw. Well, I found you thanks to Chase the Heat. Well, I wouldn't be here without Chase the Heat either. I know the host really well. I've seen Tommy split tens 100 times. True, but only if the dealer's showing a bust card. I don't listen to they. I never have. Besides, if you're in there to take a risk, right? Thank you, Chili Mancer. Means a lot to me. Nice. Lemmy, please do. I look forward to seeing you over there. That would be fun. I'm going to warn you. It is the Lifeboat Raw. When I go over there, it's because I would like to speak my mind, and speaking my mind here may not be the best idea. I've been asked to leave casinos with Tommy. I have no idea what he's talking about. I really have no idea what he's talking about. Doesn't sound like something that I would do. Sorry, got a bit of heartburn. Thank you. It's a very nice thing to say. Very, very nice thing to say. Okay, peeps. We are pretty close to a full show. Made it about 54 minutes. And I am going to be cutting it a bit early today. I've got a wicked case of heartburn. I'm going to go and take some antacid. But on the bright side, if you start calling for the cat, I think she's here. The videos deleted by the big red button are still on Rumble. Yep. Yeah, that's usually how that one works. Eat a pepper. You know what? I don't think I got a pepper here. I do have some tincture, though. I could probably do a little tincture. Dijon Vu, the same mustard as before. Hey, Z, welcome. I'm really glad that you're here. He said eat a pepper as well. Great time of the day for a pepper, says Chili Mancer. Out of curiosity, Donnie, is there a time of the day that's not good for eating a pepper? Be really honest. I've watched Donnie eat peppers in cars. Donnie makes fantastic content. If you've never gone by and checked out the Chili Mancer, do so. Donnie is everything that I am not on YouTube. Donnie is in spades. The man has absolute ability at this. I can come on here and talk. Right before bed sucks pretty hard. That's my son. Probably not the best time to eat a pepper, huh? Capsaicin has taken away all my acid reflux. You certainly did find me from Chase the Heat. That does sound like something that tinctures. Yeah, I do have some tink here. I won't drink an entire bottle, but I will probably take a few drops of tincture because it does absolutely help. Yeah, I love Spanx too. Always there for a good laugh too. All right, peeps. I am going to call it a day. He says, I love you, Uncle Johnny. It's a beautiful thing. All righty, peeps. It is time. Oh, she did the big yawn. You're supposed to wait until I hold you up for that. You didn't do it on cue. Can you do it again? Yeah, let's try this one more time. We'll see if we can get the cat to do a big yawn here. Come on, Squirrel Nut Zipper. You got a big yawn in there? Come on. Come on. Who's a good kitty? You ready? Come on. He's a good girl. Can we get one out of you? Yeah. Come on. This is a cat in a basket who will not play the game tonight. Come on, Squirrel. You got one. Aw. Nothing? Alrighty, peeps. I'm Captain Tommy Scoville. This is a cat in a basket. I will see you all in about, oh, no, I won't. Tomorrow morning is Heather. Does the morning shows on Tuesday or Wednesday. So you will see Heather tomorrow morning, and I will see you 24 hours from now. I'll bring the cat in the basket. Good night, everybody. Hey, all you need is love. Da, 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 da. All you need is love. Love is all you need.